was the maestro behind the Chicago drill vibe that took the rap game by storm, flipping the script for good. But then, word on the street is he went off the rails, getting into heavy clashes and torpedoing his own career. Today, we're spilling the tea on his wild downfall. Chop grew up repping the south side of Chicago, kickstarting his production hustle at just 11. One of his fam put him onto FL Studio, and Chop went all in. It's common knowledge among rap heads that Chi-Town turned the game upside down in the early 2010s, setting a trend that had every other rapper biting their style. But before Chop and Chief Keef blew up, the city wasn't really on the hip-hop map. The East and West Coast held it down for ages, then the South lit up with heavy hitters like Gucci Mane. Chicago, though, didn't wield much sway, except for a few big shots like Kanye. But everything flipped when young Chop and Chief Keef started cooking up together in the studio. Back then, Chop lugged around this huge desktop, no fancy gear in sight. He wasn't vibing in some $1 million setup, but that didn't hold him back from sparking a whole new vibe in the game. Chop linked with Keef, and when they collabed for Keef's mixtape Bang and another tape called The Glory Road, Chop's name started buzzing in the city. But just as things were heating up, Chop got booked for firing shots from his ride. Keef was already hip to Chop's talent, so right after his jail stretch, he hit Chop up. Chop recalled getting a Facebook message from Keef, and once he finished school that day, he hauled his computer over, and bam, they cooked up 300 in just one session. Sosa had some buzz, but 300 was the game changer that made everyone stand up and take notice. That track exploded like no other. The video showed Keef and his crew spitting where they came from, and Chop's beats took it to another level. 300 had Chop and Sosa on the rise, but what they dropped next sent shockwaves through the entire scene. In March 2011, young Chop and Chief Keef unleashed I Don't Like. 300 had its success, but the explosion of I Don't Like caught everyone by surprise. They hit over 1 million views on YouTube in a blink, putting Chicago drill firmly on the map. They were already making waves, then Kanye, Pusha T, Big Sean, and Jadakiss jumped on the remix, skyrocketing the numbers even further. For most producers, having some of the biggest artists in the world remix their beat is a dream come true, but young Chop wasn't feeling how it all played out. Chop's original vibe had his signature style, but the remix took a whole new direction. Sure, the fans were vibing with it, making Keef a superstar, but Chop told XXL he felt disrespected by the whole deal. Apparently, he asked to hear the remix before it dropped, but the first time he caught wind of it was on the radio. Chop dropped more truth bombs, mentioning how Kanye switched up the beat without giving him a heads up. He told XXL, "I'm listening to the song and there are different sounds in the beat. It doesn't even sound like the original beat. It sounded like some rock star vibe, and that ain't my style. That ain't my sound." Chop never even had a direct convo with Kanye because he had to navigate through a maze of folks just to get to him. Turns out, Chop was actually in the studio when Big Sean laid down his verse, but they recorded over Chop's original beat, blindsiding him with the changes. Rumors were buzzing that Chop might take legal action against Kanye for the track, but a few days later, he mentioned that he reached out and patched things up. In 2013, they even linked up at the studio when Kanye was crafting his Yeezus album. Chop spilled the beans to DJ Vlad, saying, "I sat down with him and stuff. Like, bro's really talented. The stuff is just genius work." But hold up, drama wasn't done brewing. By 2015, Chop spilled more details to DJ Booth, saying, "Folks don't even know the story behind that. He came to get beats from me." Chop and Chief Keef were already making big moves with millions of views before he jumped on Don't Like. Chop mentioned, "Yeah, he wanted me and he wanted that sound. You see what I'm saying? He was taking from us, you feel what I'm saying?" In another vid from 2015, Chop vented, "Kanye don't make it no better, you feel me? He be right along with the antics, using you, trying to soak up everything, get you to write songs for him, and then don't call you after that. Getting into it with a heavyweight like he usually ain't a career booster," but in 2016, Chop's downfall kicked into high gear. Family meant everything to him, especially his mom and grandmother. Despite his rap success, he never bothered to get a driver's license, so his mom still held it down, chauffeuring him around most of the time. They were tight, hitting the road together for interviews and everything else. But in 2016, tragedy struck. Chop lost his grandma just a year after his mom passed away. But amidst the lows, there were highs. Chop and Sosa had some beef brewing for a while, not vibing together. But that year, Sosa hit him up, and they patched things up, getting back in the studio. Squashing the beef with Sosa was a smart move for Chop, but then he ignited a far more serious issue that nearly cost him his life. 2020 turned out to be a wild ride for Chop. In February that year, he got locked up on allegations of animal cruelty for supposedly starving a dog to death. And then, out of the blue, he started feuding with 21 Savage. During an IG sesh with Gillie Da Kid, young Chop got asked, "Who's the scariest tough guy?" Chop didn't hold back, saying, "The scariest tough guy? Yeah, man, who'll be acting all street but really scary as heck? 21 Savage in my book and the Migos. I like Lil Baby, he's out there handling folks." According to Chop, young Chop seemed to be venting during that live session, expressing frustration and claiming people had ditched him in the studio. Gillie appeared to sense that Chop was going through some rough times. After the incident, Meek took to Twitter, expressing concern, saying, "It's obvious Chop having some mental issues. Y'all be gassing stuff so much y'all just gonna ignore it. I've been getting beats from him for years, hope he get well." Meek was genuinely trying to watch out for him. However, Chop fired back on Twitter, alleging that Meek was upset because he had a thing with Meek's girl. Then, in another live session, Chop continued calling out 21 Savage, claiming they lived in the same area and could settle things anytime, even mentioning they shopped at the same Walmart. Chop escalated by dropping a diss track aimed at 21, spitting lyrics like "Big Dog Status, you can label me if and talk down, I'ma send this be up /6 shots to his mother F head /1 shot to his mother F leg." 21 Savage responded by posting a picture of Chop on his IG story with the caption, "Make sure y'all go get his tape when it drop cause he need the clout and pray for him cause he done lost his mind." That's when Chop took the beef to the extreme, attempting to track down 21 in his neighborhood. Chop went live on IG while riding into 21's turf in the back of an Uber. According to Chop, someone rolled up and shot at the Uber's window, but Chop brushed it off, telling them they need better shooters as they didn't even scratch him. At this point, everyone could see Chop was going off the rails. The next day, he got charged with reckless conduct. As per the arrest report, the Uber driver told the cops that Chop jumped out of the car and started asking folks about 21 Savage. Things escalated when he got into a spat with a random guy, pulled out his gun, then hopped back into the car and peeled out. Another car started tailing them, so Chop allegedly flashed his gun again, leading to shots being fired. Chop wanted the Uber driver to chase the other car, but they couldn't catch up. Around the same time, Chop posted a video of himself firing a shot at people outside his place. Rumors circulated that young Chop accidentally revealed his own address while showing off his Uber destination on IG. Allegedly, adversaries caught wind of this and parked outside his place, prompting Chop to fire a shot at them. About a week after his arrest, he supposedly aimed another shot at 21 with a track called "You Know What We Do," spitting lines like "Slide through your block, I'm looking for the people / them Chop on deck, you know what we do." People involved realized Chop had gone off the deep end, and the tension eventually simmered down. However, in 2021, he took another jab at Kanye, calling him a rat. Then, Chop faced another tragedy when his brother Johnny May Cash was killed by his girlfriend after reportedly brutally assaulting her. A video had surfaced months earlier showing him attacking her, and it wasn't the first instance of his violence against her. Johnny faced other domestic violence charges from different women, with an assistant public defender asserting that his girlfriend shooting him was clearly self-defense. Allegedly, young Chop was arrested for violating probation that same month, and reports suggest he's currently behind bars. Back in 2011, it seemed like young Chop was set to join the ranks of superstar producers like Kanye and Pharrell. He revolutionized the game with his drill beats, contributing to Chicago's rise as one of the premier rap cities globally. Unfortunately, he veered down a tumultuous path, resulting in the destruction of everything he had built. Hopefully, he can navigate a turnaround and continue delivering hit after hit because it's evident that young Chop possesses the talent to ascend to the pinnacle of the industry.